What's up, guys? It's time for patch notes for Limbus Company for March 23rd, 2023. The first thing on our list is the mini event. Nothing changed since the last news about it. It works exactly the same way. You spend stamina or energy, and you will get rewards based on the energy spent. And remember that actions that don't actually spend the energy, meaning crafting the modules, for example, from stamina, or entering Mirror Dungeon for free with your daily entry, it does not count towards the energy spent. So as for the rewards, again, everything stayed the same. For the first part, for the final reward, you get the Telepole, as well as some special decorative banner. And then for part 2, also another special decorative banner, as well as the 3-star guaranteed Telepole. So there seems to be no additional missions. Everything is based off energy spent. So and there's no word about other rewards. So we'll have to see for the patch to happen and see if there are any other rewards other than the final ones. All right. The next thing, obviously the big stuff, the new 3-star, the One Who Grips Faust, as well as the 2-star and Corp Kleinhammer Heathcliff, as well as we're getting new ego, the Watchdog for Dawn. So let's see the Watchdog first, or Telepole. The art looks pretty good. I like the Faust one more, but this one is also pretty good, and I think it's the first HE, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if we had HE before. Maybe we did, and I'm forgetting. There's a lot of egos right now, so I don't remember if we did actually have HE before. So the first skill, or the normal awakening skill, on a hit will give you charge count, and if you have the heads, it will also give charge count to all allies based on the envy resistance. And for the corrosion version of this skill, this one I'm a little confused, because it says that you will gain charge count like the first one, and rapture, which to me it sounds like you're inflicting rapture onto yourself. I hope that's not the case. It would make more sense if the rapture is inflicted on the enemy instead. And the reason why I think it might be on you is because this one, when you hit heads, it says that it will give you charge, fragile, and rapture to all allies, which I'm confused. Why are you getting 2 negatives and 1 positive, and on everyone too? I feel like it either we'll have to see the numbers basically, because I looked at the other Watchdog or Telepole ego, and that is out in the game right now, and that one also gives the negatives, but it gives way more, a decent amount more positive on the corrosion one. So I think the first one gave 3 skill power, and the corrosion one gave actually 10 skill power, and then gave the negative effect only to yourself. So that one is more understandable. We might be getting here something similar, where here the normal charge count will be low, but here the charge will be way bigger, but also you will have the negative effects. That to me would make sense. I doubt it will give only positive to you and the negative effects to enemies. That I don't think so. Otherwise it would be worded differently, I feel like. So we'll see. I'm more excited for the Faust one, and honestly I'm pretty surprised that they didn't release the Faust one with her on the banner. I thought for sure we're getting her and her ego at the same time, but it seems like we're not. So I'm expecting her ego to be next week, most likely. It's just weird to me that we're not getting her ego immediately with her, so we'll have to wait a little longer for that. Let's first go into the 2-star, I guess. So Heathcliff, the Corp Kleinhammer is the name, and the skills look decent. Obviously, it's very hard to say without actual numbers of what the skill power is and how much skill power coins give. I think that's one of the things they should start adding into those screenshots, because it doesn't, like, we can look at the skills, right, and we can see what the skills will do, and we can see how many coins they have, but if the numbers are low, for example, then none of this matters really, to be honest. So it would be nice if we did have powers and how much coins give us as well as the skills descriptions. But well, at least we know the colors, right? He has purple, he has blue, and has the orange. The first skill inflicts the nails with bleed, which, yeah, that makes sense. Again, for bleed teams, should be decent. The second one is interesting because it heals SP if you win the clash. So, and then when you hit the heads on it, you get the coin drop next turn. So, I'm not sure how coin drop will work exactly. Do you just get extra coin to any of the skills you use next turn, or is that like if you fail one coin, you get it back once, kind of deal? So I'm not sure how it works. I don't know if anyone else has this skill, so we'll see. Whenever he gets out, we'll see. And then the third skill looks pretty interesting because it deals bonus damage based on damage dealt. So I really wonder how hard this will hit, considering it's three hits, and since it's skill free, I'm expecting it to have decent skill power here too. So this might actually hit for quite a lot for a 2-star. Obviously, we'll have to see. Hard to say, but it's nice. Now, for the passive skills, this one, the support passive, is actually pretty cool. So, one ally with the highest speed inflicts additional nails. To me, that means you have to have nails built into your kit. So, if you don't inflict nails, this does nothing. But if you do inflict nails, you get additional one, which is pretty cool. So you probably will have to run him with other nail users. Now, his normal passive is whenever the ally dies, you will lose SP and gain blunt power up next turn. So it's decent, right? Like, if your team is falling apart, this man will get more damage, but he'll also lose SP, which might bring him over the edge and make like corrosion happen. But you can have a decent luck, and you know, he loses SP, goes into negatives, gets into his corrosion state, and then gets the blunt power up, and then he hits with his ego with that power up. And if it was a blunt ego damage, then it might hit pretty hard on the enemies. So, like, if the RNG goes well, it's possible. But I'm usually not a fan of passives that rely on you losing, right? Like, when you're low HP or when your ally dies. I don't usually like those, because my goal is to keep my team alive. So if I'm keeping my team alive, this passive does nothing for me. So I'm not a fan, but it's here and, you know, might help you turn the tables. All right, the main one, the Faust. I was waiting for that one for the long time, and so did many of you. Her skills look decent, like really decent. I'm actually very excited to see the numbers, because I feel like numbers will dictate if she's good or not. But skill-wise, I'm pretty pleased. She has many coins, which to me is great. I'm so tired of losing coin tosses when I only have one coin on my skill, and you know, the RNG just makes it so I don't get it, and then I just lose the clash. It irritates me. Plus, when you're doing the daily thread excavations and the EXP ones, you start with 0 sanity, right? So you don't get the boost, so it's actually 50-50 if you get your coin or not. And with 1 coin skills, that 50-50 is very costly, right? Like if you fail it, you lose probably like 12 or whatever extra power you would have otherwise gotten. So having multiple coins, I feel like, is more beneficial when you're doing them, because failing 1 or 2 coins is not as big of a deal as if losing that 1 coin that gives you a big boost. It like basically relies on you hitting it, otherwise you lose. So her first skill, purple, on clash win, target loses SP, which is interesting. I don't know if that will matter much. It depends how much SP they lose, I guess. But it seems like she is built around, or at least a little bit built around, siphoning SP or killing SP for the enemies. So if you're crashing them hard, she makes them lose their sanity even more, which might bring them over the edge and go into panic mode. And so this actually helps, right? Like this is better than Heathcliff one, where you have to have your allies killed in order to activate. Here, if you're crashing the enemy, you should be crashing them even harder. It should be easier to make them go insane. So obviously she inflicts nails. What a surprise, she actually inflicts nails on every single ability. So you know that she will be a great bleed addition. So if you don't have good bleed units yet, or all your units are not bleed yet for your bleed team, she will be amazing addition from the looks of it. The second skill, the gripping, 3 coins, orange skill, which is pretty nice. And on heads, on the first hit, or on the third hit rather, it inflicts paralyze on the target as well as it inflicts gaze. Now gaze doesn't work exactly like it does in the boss fight. Here, the affected unit will take more damage from pierce and blunt skills for 1 turn, and if the ally defeats the marked unit, they heal sanity. Now, if the ally is from the Corp, they also gain Fanatic next turn, and Fanatic, if I remember correctly, increased, here, raise skill final power by the effects count against units with nails. So, basically, if they have 1 Fanatic, they will get +1 to skill power if the enemies are inflicted with nails. This is pretty cool. You like just the debuff receiving more damage from pierce and blunt skills is good, but then also it heals and it also gives Fanatic if you're using Corp. So to me that's great. That is great stuff. I'm not sure exactly how many units we have in Corp right now. Let's see. I think the only Corp units right now are the new ones, right? So the Meyer Salt, the Heathcliff 2-star we're getting, the Rodion Middle Hammer that we had previously, and I think that's it. And obviously Faust. So I think just the new units are the Corp. So you would have to run the Night Squad basically to get full benefit from it, so that makes sense. I don't really like the other Corp units, so I'm probably gonna use her regardless with just Bleed Squad instead, so I'm fine with that. Alright, last skill, Execution, the third one. Again, 3 coins, and on kill it will heal all allies for SP, and it will apply pierce and blunt damage up to you. So actually, I think it actually inflicts pierce and blunt damage up to everyone. Heal all allies for SP and apply. Yeah, I think it's to all. So that's actually pretty good. Everyone gets pierce and blunt. I would have to think if let me see. I feel like a lot of bleed units have slash damage though. So probably to maximize and optimize, you would have to use less ideal bleed units. For example, I think the 3-star Rhodion has only slash skills, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all of her skills are slash, so it will be harder to maximize it, I suppose, with certain units. I think Ryoshu has some pierce abilities. Yeah, all of her stuff is pierce, so she's safe. As for 2-star, let me see, where is he? 2-star Honglu, he will inflict, I think, only slash damage as well. Slash, yeah. Okay, so you would have to have pierce slash blunt damage team to take like maximum benefits from it, which I'm assuming all the N-Corp units will have, probably only blunt and pierce. Yeah, that's exactly the case. So the kit very heavily makes you want to run the N-Corp together, basically those 4, because you get a bunch of benefits. So even passive wise, as you can see, at the start of the combat phase, it will heal all allies with the lowest SP, and well, with SP, so you basically gain sanity for the lowest sanity person in the team, and if they're N-Corp, they will also get fanatics. So again, like, this goes well with the gaze. So it feels like, to me, you definitely want to try running them together, the N-Corp. Now, obviously, it will inflict the nails on all 3 skills. Actually, on first 2 skills. The third one just deals extra damage if the target has it says X or more nails, but I'm assuming it means just it has nails. I doubt they mean 10. I feel like they would just use a number 10 here. So but we'll see what it means exactly. I'm assuming it just means more than 1 nail, but yeah, overall she looks decent. Again, if you're running in N-Corp, I feel like you probably will be smashing hard. That's my assumption. Even without that, I feel like she probably will be strong in the team that doesn't maximize the blunt and pierce damage up or the gaze. So pretty happy with her. Alright, so on to the next things. The changes for Luxcavation for the costs. So like in the other news, they changed it to be 2 modules instead of energy. So everything costs basically for the energy just in modules instead of actual energy. Now for the rewards, they basically look the same as the last one, but they brought up the stage 2 and stage 1. They are giving more tickets now than they did in our current version or with the last news they gave us. So they decided to give us more more tickets for first and second stage if you cannot do the third one yet. So sure, it doesn't matter again because you will be farming the third one regardless. So most people, they won't feel it, right, this change. But for newer players, they can only do 1 and 2, then yeah, this helps. All right, the next thing are the major, quote unquote, well, they are major changes, but the system ones are not that big. Basically, they just add a cap to modules. So now you cannot have more than 999, which, okay, means you cannot infinitely stack them. But two more interesting things, the combat system. So the combat changes are finally here, and from what I read, they look pretty much the exact way they said last time. Maybe they're giving a little bit more details here, but basically if you're matching colors together, and you should be more than ever matching them together, you will now receive the skills offense and defense level boost and not the damage one. So what it means is if your units combat power or offense power, defense power is higher than the enemy unit by 5, you get +1 like final value of your clash, right? So with this resonance and absolute resonance buffs, it will definitely help you win clash if you match colors. That's all you need to know. So if you match the colors, you will see higher numbers on your clash wins by probably 1 or 2, I'm assuming, depends how big the boost is. It doesn't say how many points you get, but again, it should be easier to win clashes if you're matching colors. Now for the defense skills, basically they're adding the same system with the when we have the offense level, they're doing the same with defense level now. Was not a thing, now it is. So everyone will have their own defense level, meaning probably tanks will have higher ones and damage dealers will have lower ones, and they will also have their own like extra power if your defense level is higher than enemy offense level, right? So I think that's about it here. There are some things like guard evades that they will now activate if the unit was about to be attacked by a skill that otherwise would result in clash if not defending. Defense skills can be used to redirect abnormality skills, which is pretty cool. Let's see. And defense skills will no longer skip the unit's action and properly correspond to the enemy skill. Basically makes it easier to defend and makes defend more useful in combat. That's pretty much all the changes here. Anything else that's worth mentioning here? Not really. I feel like that's about it. Yeah. All right. So for the combat system, the predicted skill values, they changed display a little bit. Now the skills minimum and maximum damage values will be shown on the before targeting, with the before targeting, when targeting with defense skills, or when performing unopposed attacks. So now you'll be able to say, or to see rather, the damage values, min and max, of what you can inflict on people. So it will be very useful. Then thresholds for stagger has been adjusted a little bit for all identities to fit the role better, meaning damage dealers should have more thresholds and defenders, tanks, should have less thresholds and harder to hit. So those are the changes. The rest stuff doesn't really matter too much. There's been some bug fixes and improvements, as always. Nothing really interesting. Not gonna read through all of them. Again, they're just fixing stuff. That's all you need to know. And as traditionally, we get 300 lunacy for the maintenance. So that's pretty much it. Small patch. Like overall, it's been small on news because we've already received so many news prior to this that like pretty much everything here is nothing new. And there's not that much more detail either, so you know, like the main thing from the patch is just seeing the kits, right, and the ego. To be honest, so overall, I like the patch. I think it will make the game better. We'll see how the combat changes. Like that's the one part I'm most interested in. How those changes will affect the combat in Mirror Dungeon, in the daily Luxcavations, if it will change it much, and how the balance will look like now. That's the thing I'm wondering about, and we'll see if the game becomes easier or harder because of them. So hopefully they did a good job testing this stuff before it gets released. I mean, they delayed it, so hopefully they delayed it for a good reason, to make it good now. But alright, that's it from me. I will see you next time. Peace.